downfield. Can they do it again? Yes, they can!
And the catch is made by Taj Washington. Touchdown, USC.
Blocked by Embiid! Timmy, yes!
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Beef Upfront podcast here on PickSwap Media. This is your host, Ryan Coyle, joined by Kevin Cannon, as always, for our weekly NFL show, NFL Big Five Games of the Week. Hard to believe, as we say every week, but we're already here at Week 15. The season has been flying by, only 15, 16, 4 more weeks left of the regular season. And then we head into the playoffs, be covering that, as always, but some big games, some big weeks coming down the stretch here are going to determine who's going to the playoffs, who's playing who gets what seed. So a lot of exciting stuff to get into, and we're going to start off with this week, Week 15. As always, our best 5 games on the schedule. But before we do that, welcome back, Kevin. How are we?
Good. We got a lot of good games on the slate this week with a lot of playoff implications.
All right, so before we hop into Week 15, we'll review last week. As always, I went 9-8. Seems like to be the magic number for most of our weeks throughout the year, besides a few really bad ones and a few really good ones we've had. I feel like we've both been around like 9-8 or 8-9 most weeks, as is everyone. Kind of just, it's a 500 type thing. Went 1-1 with the best bet and upset special, with the Ravens hitting for the upset special, third week in a row. Best bet Chiefs -9 lost. Was winning by double digits for most of the first half, and then the second half they kind of let the Broncos back into it. Only wound up winning by about 6, I believe it was. You had a nice week though, Kev, going 11-6. You went 1-1 as well. Best bet hitting with Bengals -6. That's your third in a row, and then the Cardinals was your underdog pick. They lost on Monday Night Football to the Patriots, but their quarterback went down within the first few minutes of the game, so kind of bad beat on that one, but looking to get back to our best bet and upset special sweep after hitting 2 in a row the last 2 weeks. So we will get into our Big Five now. We start this week. First time I feel like in a while on Thursday night. We haven't had that many great Thursday night games on our slate this year, but this is a real big one. This is a NFC West battle. The 9-4 49ers at the 7-6 Seahawks, 8:15 Thursday Night Football on Amazon. 49ers come in as -3.5 point favorites, over under 43.5.
We got the 49ers 24, Seahawks 17. So the 49ers covering, the under of 43.5 hidden. Short week here for both teams. I think it plays into the Niners' advantage. They were able to rest some guys at the end of the game last week because they were blowing out the Bucs. They also have a really great defense and a running game, which can help control the clock in this game. Brock Purdy has also looked very good. And like I said last week, all he has to do is get the ball into his playmakers' hands. No Deebo Samuel this week, but they still have a really good O-line. McCaffrey, Kittle, and Ayuk. The Seahawks defense over the last 4 are also letting up 28.5 points per game. I don't think the Seahawks defense is going to get enough stops to allow Geno and the offense to win the game. The Seahawks here, I think, fall to 7-7 in their playoff. Hopes might come crashing down after a really hot start to the season.
I'm going to go against you here. I'm going to go with the home team in Seattle. My Thursday Night Football picks all year in my weekly pools, and even the few games we've had on the show, are trash. So the 49ers are going to win this game easily with me picking the Seahawks. But just for the show's sake, let's see if I can flip my fortune here. Seahawks 21, 49ers 17. So Seahawks plus the 3.5 there at home. I really like that number, and under 43.5. That was a very impressive showing by Brock Purdy against that really good Bucs defense last week. He is on the injury report right now. I think he'll play, but remains to be seen how effective he can be. He gave me a lot of faith, though, in the 49ers going forward, showing the ability to step up, make some high-level throws. I saw that he had like 2 deep touchdown passes. I'm not sure what the exact specification for that to happen, but he had 2 in that game. And I think it said Jimmy might have had 2 all season. So showing a little bit more creative ability, I think, to get the ball down the field. I think that's going to be really hard to stop. But Deebo Samuel out now, that's a really big loss for that offense. But showing the ability to make those throws, to go along with the great running game and great defense, as an Eagles fan that we are, it makes me a little bit worried now to face them after I thought it was going to be much easier with Jimmy out of the lineup. Seahawks, on the other hand, played terrible last week, shit the bed against the Panthers at home in a game that now their playoff spot is in jeopardy. If they drop this one 7-7, Lions coming in hot, who we'll be talking about soon. Who knows if they're even going to make it the playoffs anymore after their roaring hot start. Seahawks have owned this rivalry, though, over the past decade, winning 14 out of the last 17. And I know Russ isn't there anymore, but Pete Carroll is, and he's had their number, especially at home. I think Seattle, though, is just going to find a way to get this one done at home. It's kind of like a must-win for them. Geno is playing for the new deal. That reports started surfacing about that last week. I think if he finds a way to win this one, ball out against the best defense in the NFL, get this team closer to the playoffs, I think it's going to be hard to pass him up, to not bring him back as your quarterback next year. So this is a huge game for him. I think he comes ready to play. Gives me a real like old Seattle, San Francisco type flashback in my head. I think it's going to be a real physical football game. So give me Seahawks 21, 49ers 17. So we'll go Hawks plus 3.5, under 43.5. All right, now we got some Saturday games on the slate this week. I believe there's 3 to go along with the full Sunday slate and then the Monday night game as well. We have one game from the Saturday slate. That is the 8-5 Dolphins at the 10-3 Bills. 8:15 on the NFL Network. Bills -7, over under 45.5.
I got the Bills winning 28, Dolphins 17. The Bills covering -7 and the under 45.5 hidden. Miami is playing in the cold versus the Bills here. I don't think the Dolphins will get their offense right for this game in Buffalo. Tua has been shown his limitations recently, and I think the Bills will even expose them even more in the cold. I think Josh Allen will have a nice day against the Dolphins defense that I think underachieves most of the year. I don't really have a lot more to say on this game because I think Buffalo takes control and it never really feels like the Dolphins are in the game or have a chance of winning, even if they don't completely blow them out.
Yeah, I'm right there with your logic there, Kev. I think this is a Bills kind of controlled from the start and maybe take their foot off the gas pedal a little bit. Maybe the Dolphins kind of creep back into it, but I like the Bills to win this one comfortably, 27-17. So Bills -7, under 45.5 there. Last 2 weeks, in my eyes, have really taken the Dolphins and Tua out of my mind as a contender going forward. Got dismantled by San Fran, and then the Chargers completely shut down their offense as well, and the Chargers haven't been able to stop a nosebleed for most of the season. So Dolphins did find their way to stun the Bills earlier this year in Miami, but that game was the reverse weather. I think it playing in Miami's favor. It was like 90 degrees. Guys were cramping all over. So many Bills got lost for injury that game. Now we flip the script. We go up to upstate New York in December where the Bills are more comfortable. I think that's going to play a big role in this game with the Bills having their revenge on their mind as well. Looks like the weather forecast, high of 33, low of 26, and potential snow in the forecast as well. That's most likely going to limit this Dolphins passing game. And like I said last week with the Bills and Jets, it's a division game, so they're going to have to be laser focused coming into this one. They're going to have to find just a way to win this game. It doesn't have to be pretty, but they just need to continue racking up those wins to get that number 1 seed and avoid going back to Kansas City most likely again. While they may not be clicking on all cylinders right now, and Josh Allen's elbow might not be 100% healthy, I still think they're going to have enough to get it done here at home. Evidenced by the spread as a 7-point favorite. Vegas really likes the Bills in this one as well. So Bills to cover that 7, under 45.5 is my pick there. Third game of the week, we go to Sunday now. We go to MetLife for the Lions at 6-7 at the Jets, 7-6, 1 o'clock on CBS. This one is a pick 'em. Line is even right now, over under 44.5. Huge game for both teams as they're both vying for wild card spots. But it's real cool to get these two teams in the show this late in the season. Two of the teams I think that, along with the Browns, have probably been the worst teams since we really started following football. So what are your thoughts on this big matchup, Kev?
I got the Jets winning a close one, 23, Lions 20, so I would take Jets money line and the under of 44.5 hidden. The Lions are riding high coming into this game into New York in the cold. I don't think the Lions offense will have as much success outside of their dome in Detroit. They're also playing a really good defense. I think the Jets defense will keep the Jets in the game and win them the game. Hopefully Mike White's able to go, and I don't think he'll need to do a boatload back there and make a ton of big plays in this game. Just don't turn the ball over and let the defense handle things. The Lions are still susceptible to letting up a ton of passing yards and I think it comes back to bite them a little bit here. This game's going to feel like a playoff game with implications for both teams. Could make or break their playoff hopes. Give me the Jets at home.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the reverse score, actually. I'll take Lions 23, Jets 20. So give me the Lions money line there, under 44.5. I think it's really like one of those loser leaves town type of games. Lions lose, they fall to the 8 losses. I don't see a path for them to make the playoffs. If the Jets lose, they go to 7-7 maybe, but like Patriots play the Raiders this week. I think Bill Belichick won't lose to Josh McDaniels. The Chargers against the Titans we'll get into a little bit later as well. There's a lot of games in the AFC that'll have big implications going forward, especially with tiebreakers and everything like that. So this is a huge one, and I think the loser of this game most likely will be on the outside looking in come wild card weekend. If the Jets, maybe if they lose, they're going to need to win out though and get some help. But like I said earlier, it's really cool just to have these two teams, I think, in this spot this late in the season. I love the Jets defense, and I think they can be a really good unit for years to come under Saleh, especially with all the young and intriguing upcoming talent they have. But when you're dealing with a quarterback with some health issues, and then he's also up and down, it's Mike White at the end of the day. He's had some really good moments, but he's also had some struggles. He's struggled to stay healthy as well. And then you have a guy like Breece Hall and some other pieces on your offense out. It's hard to sustain success and win a lot of games. I think they're maybe like a year ahead right now. Next year, we could see them contend for that division with the Bills, I think. But right now, I just don't think it's their time. And I think the Lions are kind of finding their groove. They're 5-1 in their last 6 and have been playing a lot better on defense. And the offense now has everyone healthy. It seems like Jameson Williams showing his impact last week. They're just clicking right now and playing with some really good confidence. I get worried with Goff and his limited arm strength, not playing in that dome, playing outdoors in North Jersey. I think they're going to have a really nice running game here. But I think the confidence right now is sky high in that building. And I think they're clicking enough to go on the road here and get a big win, put them to 7-7, and keep them right in the thick of that NFC playoff picture. Fourth game of the week now, we go to Sunday afternoon. Titans 7-6 at the Chargers 7-6, 4:25 on CBS. Chargers, after that big win over the Dolphins, come in as 3-point favorites, over under 47.5.
I got the Titans winning 23, Chargers 21. The Titans covering those 3 points and the under 47.5 hidden. The Titans come in with the second worst passing defense in the league in terms of yards and are playing the NFL's second passing leader in terms of yards. Meanwhile, the Chargers have the worst rushing defense and are playing Derrick Henry, who's second in the league in rushing yards. That's a mouthful, but both teams' weaknesses playing the other team's strength, it seems like. With that info, I don't really trust either team, but I'm going to go with the Titans because of their history under Mike Vrabel. They usually win games like this, and I feel like the Chargers usually lose games like this. Herbert's passing yards, even though he might have a lot here, they don't always lead the points, while Derrick Henry's rushing yards keep Herbert off the field. So I think that's going to be the key here, and the Titans win a close one.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised with myself, and I guess proud of myself, but they'll probably find a way to screw me here. But I feel like over the years on the show, I've always been a Chargers truther. You see the talent's there. They just never seem to be able to put it together or stay healthy. This is like a typical Chargers in the past where I would definitely pick them, and they always find a way to fall flat. So I'm going to go against them here. So with that being said, don't be surprised if they find a way to win this week. I'm going to roll with the Titans, though, 24-23. So we got Titans +3, under 47.5. The Titans should still win the AFC South. They probably still have like an 85% chance, but they're making a bit interesting here, playing their worst football of the season. Jags starting to figure things out. Jags are 4-point underdogs at home this week to the Cowboys. That line is a kind of weird one. Maybe the Jags find a way to win this week as well. And if the Chargers lose, they're the Jags knocking on the doorstep. But then in regards to the Chargers, they showed on Sunday night what they can do with Herbert when he has his full complement of weapons, throwing the ball all around the yards of Palmer, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler getting in the end zone. That offense can be really good. But the AFC wild card is an uber competitive race at the moment, so every game counts, just as we were talking about with the Jets. I feel like this is like one of those typical, though, Chargers fall flat. They played well on Sunday Night Football. Everyone watched, and now everyone's back on the bandwagon. It wouldn't surprise me if Keenan Allen went out there and injured his hamstring again in the first quarter and set them back. The Chargers under Staley, as you mentioned, Kevin, worst rush defense in the league this year. They've been really bad both years, and now facing Derrick Henry, who has only rushed for 100 yards once over the last 5 weeks, which was last week. So he might be in for a big game. Typically around this time of year, I feel like we see him belch off a couple 2-3 games in a row where he's going for like 150 plus yards. So maybe that streak starts to get going this week. Did some research since taking over in 2018, the Titans, taking over the head coach as the Titans, Mike Vrabel has only lost 3 games in a row. He's never lost 4 games in a row once. And if they lose this game, that would be their 4th loss in a row. I don't expect that to happen here. I think he's too good of a coach, and they have too good of a team still around him. I'm going to take the Titans to win here, and with the Chargers pulling a typical Chargers falling flat. So Titans underdog winner +3 and under 47.5. Sunday Night Football now. This game recently got flexed into this window. The NFC Beast, Giants 7-5-1 at the Washington Commanders 7-5-1. Washington -4.5, over under 40.5, 8:20, Sunday Night Football on NBC. This game, I believe it was 2 weeks ago. It was on the 4th. They tied 20-20.
I got the Commanders winning 24, Giants 14. The Commanders covering that 4.5 and the under of 40.5 hidden. These teams just played 2 weeks ago, like you said, and the Commanders are also coming off a bye. So their last game was against the Giants. So they've been able to prepare for this Giants team for like 3 weeks now. And Saquon just doesn't look the same as he did earlier in the year with all those carries racking up. And I think the Commanders will learn from their mistakes 2 weeks ago. Taylor Heineke has saved the Commander season, but I think the workload of the offense should still be on Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson, while the Giants allow the 4th most rushing yards a game in the league, and I think the Commanders can take advantage of that here. And the Commanders improve their playoff chances, while the Giants' chances of making it to the dance take a big hit.
I got the same picks as you. I'm taking Commanders to win 20-13. So Commanders -4.5, under 40.5. Really interested and intrigued in this matchup, though, especially if the Seahawks find a way to beat the 49ers on Thursday Night Football. The loser of this game, I think, is going to be in a real tough spot going forward to make the playoffs, because unless the Eagles fall apart and find a way to not win the division, you're going to have the Cowboys in there at that one seed in the wild card. Then you're probably going to have, I think, the Seahawks, and then probably one of these 2 teams or the Lions in that last spot. So this is a big game, especially with the one game being a tie. This is a huge one, maybe for a head-to-head tiebreaker down the line. Giants have came back to earth, though, Kev, like we predicted, and Washington is coming off their bye. So I think they have a leg up in this one. Should be well-rested for the first Sunday Night Football game in Washington in a long time. I was trying to look for it. I couldn't find the last time they had a Sunday Night Football game there. So like we mentioned, these 2 teams tied back on the 4th, but Washington did dominate the time of possession, having the ball for 41 minutes of game time, including overtime. Both teams really struggled on 3rd down, though. That was one of the big things, I think, that decided the game, ultimately ending in a tie. They were pretty even on 3rd down, 7 of 27 combined on the money down. I don't think either of these teams particularly good, and both figure, I think, if they do make the playoffs, find a way to be one and done. But preseason expectations, I think that would be a good season if either of these teams found their way in. I think the Giants, though, are just much less talented and too decimated by injury, and especially after last week's ass-kicking against Philly, I think the morale and the confidence in that locker room can't be that high right now. Washington finds a way to dominate the time of possession again, maybe convert 1 or 2 extra 3rd downs, move the ball in the red zone, and take care of the football. They only turned it over once last game. They should be in position to win this football game. So give me the Commanders to win this one, 20-13. Like it to be another low-scoring, ugly game. I was tempted to make it my best bet, but last time I needed overtime for that to hit. So, well, I still like the under in this one, but give me Commanders -4.5 and then under 40.5 there. All right, now as always, go to the best bet and upset special. I'll lead us off. I'm going to take the Bengals -3.5. Bengals are an NFL best 10-3 against the spread this year. Bucks are an NFL worst 3-9-1 against the spread this year. Playing at Tampa Bay makes me a little bit weary, especially if with this game, I believe it's in the 4:00 window. If the Panthers find a way to beat the Steelers and the Bucks lose this one to the Bengals, I believe the Panthers would vault into first place. So big game there for Tampa Bay. I could see this one coming back to bite me after I feel like I've picked the Bucks all year, but the numbers are there. 10-3 against the spread, the Bengals, especially with Joe Burrow in like the month of November and December. He's been awesome. And the Bucks 3-9-1 against the spread. I'm going to go with the trends and the numbers there. So Bengals -3.5. I could see them winning by double digits in this one. I just don't think the Bucks are a good team anymore.
I'm going with the Eagles -9 versus the Bears. I almost never put money on the Eagles, but I really do like them here this week. The Birds are flying high, and the Bears stink even with Justin Fields' running ability.
I'm a little worried about the game. I think that it's the typical trap look ahead spot with the Cowboys next week, but uh, you can't go wrong picking this team right now, just the way that they've been playing, and especially throwing the ball, running the ball, and the defense. They're really looking good. So, as an Eagles fan, I'm a little bit worried, but from the outside, if you just take a national look at it, I don't think you can go wrong with that pick. Now we go to the upset special. Been on fire with this, I believe 3 in a row for me. We're going to go back to the well with the team that got us the first game on the 3 game win streak. That's with the Jacksonville Jaguars money line here, plus 175. They're plus 4 right now against the Cowboys at home. Might be wishful thinking, but they've been playing well. They've won 3 out of their last 5, with 2 against playoff likely teams and the Ravens and the Titans, both the wins at home. You don't really think of Jacksonville as a huge home field advantage, but a lot of teams struggle when they go down there. I'm not sure what it is, maybe playing down to the competition, but Jags have been playing well, and the Cowboys have, like I just said with the Eagles, it's a look ahead type spot, and they struggled at home last week against the Texans as well. So Jags money line plus 175. If they win this game and the Titans lose to the Chargers, I believe they're only a game out of the AFC South. They're right there in the mix as well. So big game for the Jags, still alive and in contention, it looks like. I'm going to take them at home here over the Cowboys, plus 175.
My upset special is Ravens money line. They're currently plus 126 or plus 2.5 versus the Browns. Deshaun is still getting right, and the Ravens defense has been playing well, only allowing an average of less than 10 points in their last 5 wins. So I would take the Ravens here.
All right, well, that'll do it for NFL Big Five games of the week 15. Expect to have a more clear picture for the NFL playoff race come next week when we break it down week 16. But for now, any last second comments, Kev, before we head out?
Good luck to anyone starting their fantasy playoffs this week. I know a lot are starting.
Yep. All right. Good luck to everyone. Let's go Eagles, and we will talk again next week.